In 1945, an international organization was founded that was dedicated to maintaining international peace, security, and cooperation. Nowadays, in 2026, it has 193 member states who strive towards that very goal. A big discussion they often have is women's rights, so let's dig into what gender diversity issues the UN faces and how they strive to solve it. The first point is glass ceiling, which is the idea that there's an unofficial, acknowledged barrier to advancement in a profession, especially affecting women, which also just means that it's a harder path for women to get into higher positions in organizations. The first subpoint of that is that the idea of gender disadvantages, which is when inequalities affect people based on gender. And a big subpoint of that is mentorship, which is defined by the UN Women Organization as mentoring is about enhancing an individual staff member's career development through a collaborative knowledge sharing relationship with another staff member who serves as their mentor. The United Nations have had struggles in the past issue with pairing the right mentor with the right mentee, and also just having issues in general with their mentors not being trained enough for the program. And the UN Women really recommends this to be a key tool for people to overcome gender barriers and support career progression to a higher level for women. And the next subpoint is bias evaluation, which is when there's error in judgment that happens when a person allows their conscious or unconscious prejudice to affect their evolution of another person. According to an article from the UN's development program, it says the latest Gender Social Norms Index report has reviewed that there's no improvement in biases against women in a decade, with almost 9 out of 10 men and women worldwide still holding such biases today. The next subpoint is stereotype and biases, which is a stereotype is a fixed overgeneralized belief about a particular group or category of people, while a bias is when these beliefs and assumptions lead to a judgment or decision that is not supported by fact or decision. According to the United Nations Development Program, again, biases are also reflected in the severe underrepresentation of women in leadership. There's this common stereotype that men have agency, which is a masculine trait, and women have communion, which is a feminine trait. Agency is focused on self assertion, goal attainment, and competence. They possess traits such as assertiveness, dominant, independent, decisive, competitive, and task oriented, and their goal is to master the environment. It is very similar to like macho man style, where it's like men think that they have a stronger viewpoint and they're always right kind of thing, as opposed to women having communion, which is focused on connecting with others, cooperation, nurturing. They possess traits such as caring, empathetic, warm, helpful, expressive, and nurturing, just like motherly traits that people tend to use to identify towards women as opposed to men, because you never look at a man and you think nurturing, you look at a woman and you think they're nurturing more than you would a man. The next issue that they have is pay gap, which is an undesirable or unfair difference amongst the average amount that two sectors of the population are paid. According to the UN, across all regions, women are paid less than men, with a gender pay gap estimated at around 20% globally. The first point that might cause that is lack of flexibility, which means the more control you have over your hours means lower hourly wages and fewer promotional opportunities, which then leads to my subpoint of the motherhood penalty, which is a really sexist system, but it is a systematic disadvantage that includes lower wages and reduces hiring promotions opportunities that women experience in the workforce after having children, or even before having children, because people think that they are going to leave for maternity. But the UN says women also perform 3 more hours of daily care work than men, including household tasks and caring for the children and elderly. Last point is that women in the UN often face deeper gender stereotypes, lack of proper facilities, and limited opportunities as men in the treatment aspect, because there's a big assumption about women's lack of commitment to the job, indicating that women hiring might be a loss if they have to leave for childcare and maternity. While there are structures in place to ensure that women have a fighting chance, there are still obstacles with every organization that they must face. The UN has made advancements towards improvement, like with the creation of UN Women, which established in 2010. It's a branch of the UN that works to advance women's rights, gender equality, and the empowerment for women and girls. In conclusion, the UN has gotten better, but not quite perfect yet, and there are no official conversations regarding gender issues within the UN itself, but the countries that represent the UN tell a different story.